Okay, class, time's up. I want you to put all the tables together and we can go over the practice problems you have on the board. Is everyone ready? All right, let's begin. Okay, so problem number one, we have the hours slept on one axis and the test scores. So if you haven't done so already, which I'm pretty sure you have, with step number one, which will be correct. Make sure step number one, make sure besides making the graph, or be the graph, if you need to make a graph, make it. Step number one will be labeling our x horizontal and our y axis and writing the numbers on each of the lines in the graph. Step number one. Step number two will be to plot the data points here, right? Plot the data points. If you haven't done so already, I will do so right now. So we have the 8 hours slept, and that'll be 83. Put it somewhere around right here. 7 hours slept, 86. 7 hours, 74. Again, make sure every time you plot one, you go horizontal, and then you go vertical up, and then you make sure you plot the points. If you have any questions, please let me know. 8, 88, 60, 6 hours slept, 69, excuse me. 5 hours slept equals a test score of 63. 4 hours slept, 50. Goodness. 9 hours slept and a test score of 95. Somewhere around right here. Okay, once we have plot our data points, we're going to find out our correlation. And again, what were the 3 correlations? Correct? Positive, negative, and no correlation. Positive increase, one variable increases, while the other one increases. Negative is opposite, one increases, while the other one is decreasing, causing a negative. And last one is no correlation. The 2 variables have no relations with one another. Okay, now on this graph, we can tell that again, one of my friends right now, Aurora said that it's a positive because as the number of hours when students sleep, so the students slept, we can see that the more hours they slept, and it affected their test scores. So the friend who got 4 hours of sleep, you can see on the graph that he got a test score of 50. Again, it's more, the more hours you sleep, usually is around this graph, it affects your test score. So the more hours you sleep, the higher test score you'll be. Okay, any questions on that? If not, we can move on. Let's go to problem number 2. Okay, on this one it says basketball players, the height of the basketball player, I'll move over here so you can see the height of the basketball player and their weight. And we're going to find out to see if it affects one another, if the variables have a connection. So again, if you haven't done so, step number 1, besides making a graph correct, make the graph. Step number 1 will be making sure you have labeled your x-axis and your y-axis. After you've done so, you can plot the graph, plot the data points. The height of 71 inches. First we go right here, 71, and we go vertical up to 70. Make sure you plot that. 68 inches, and it'll be of 60, 160, 68, 160. Oh, and I'm sorry, make sure it is a positive. Make sure you write it down. I did not, forgive me, I did not write it down. I'll make sure you write down this one. 70 inches, and the weight of 70. 75 right here. 73 inches, and this basketball player weighs 180. And 74 inches, and he weighs 190. Okay, so once we do that, if you still having problems how to plot data points, please let me know. We can go over it. Now on this one, we can see that it has a slight positive correlation on this with variables because as the higher the basketball players are, the more they tend to weigh. That's not all necessarily true. One could be taller than another, but on this basketball team and on this graph, the higher the basketball players are, the higher the higher they are, the more they tend to weigh. So this one will be also a positive correlation. So write positive correlation. And I'm sorry, I had to find somewhere to write it. Excuse me, I don't write slanted. It's that's my room. Now, if we don't have any questions, we able to move on. Is everyone right? Correct? Okay, let's move on. Now, problem number 3. Again, there's no data table. It's just the points already plotted. The graph's already set. X and Y axes are labeled, and we'll just look at the graph and we're going to see. Well, we're just going to describe the correlation. So, as you can see, as the x-axis is increasing, the y-axis is actually decreasing. You know, as high as we go up, the data points tend to go down. And what do we say about one correlation, which is negative, correct? As one variable increases, the other variable is decreasing, excuse me, causing kind of like a negative slope increasing. So right here we'll just write it's a negative correlation. Now, if we have any trouble at all with this lesson, please let me know. We can discuss this after class. You will have homework over this, as always, I know, as always, but it's something we all covered, you know, something we covered over. You'll have graphs asking you to describe the correlations, which we just went over, and we'll have a data table and a graph to plot the points. Now, as you walk out of the classroom, you'll please grab your homework as a worksheet right there. Unless Thomas, if you want to hand them out, if you can, thank you, buddy. If not, this concludes our test. Our lesson over scatter plots and correlation. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. We can discuss this after class. I'll be happy to. Again, if not, then we can put away our stuff and we can move on into our history lesson. Thank you.